Romantic Tales. Chapter 205. I can give you money. 1,000 yuan for a seaweed roll, how about that? Ziyu said arrogantly. He always thought that there was nothing that money couldn't solve. If it couldn't be solved, then it meant that the money wasn't there. No, Huamin decisively refused. 5,000 yuan. Ziyu instantly increased the price by 5 times. Huamin looked up and smiled sweetly. Ziyu immediately felt proud. He thought that she would agree for sure this time. After all, no one would say no to money. To his surprise, after smiling, Huamin picked up a seaweed roll and put it in her mouth right in front of him. Young Master Su was so greedy that he was almost drooling. 5,000 yuan is enough to buy a car. Why don't you order takeout? It tastes better than mine, Huamin suggested. I don't want takeout, I want to eat this. Tell me, how much are you willing to sell it for? Suyu finally lost his patience and directly offered a price. I'm not selling it for any price. Let me tell you this. You think that money is omnipotent, but you don't know that sometimes money is completely useless. For example, in the desert, you might not even be able to buy a bottle of mineral water with 100 million yuan. Suyu's face immediately darkened. Not only did this woman not give him food, she even tried to reason with him. He was so angry. The seaweed rolls were getting fewer and fewer until there was only one left. Huamin ate the authentic Korean-style spicy cabbage to her heart's content. In the end, Suyu couldn't hold back anymore. While Huamin wasn't paying attention, he quickly grabbed a seaweed roll and put it in his mouth to chew. Hey, when did you become a robber? Huamin looked at Suyu speechlessly. Was he really the rich sugar daddy who was on the entertainment headlines every day and had all the girls in the city falling in love with him? How could he be so uncultured and not care about his image at all? It seemed like the newspapers were all lies. Seeing was believing. He was so uncultured. After eating, Suyu took out his wallet, opened it, and threw a stack of money on the bench. It looked like it was at least 3,000 to 5,000 yuan. Here's your reward. I won't eat for free. Why do I feel like you're an idiot? Huamin chuckled. Suyu immediately reacted. Who are you calling an idiot? You don't want to live anymore? Yeah, I don't want to live anymore if I have to take care of a hypocritical patient like you. Hurry up and die. Huamian closed her eyes to piss him off. Chapter 206. You really? Suyu was speechless at Huamin's blatant provocation. If it was any other woman, he would have smashed her head with his phone without hesitation. But strangely, he didn't feel like he was going to hit her this time. He subconsciously looked at the woman with her eyes closed and thought that her eyelashes were very pretty. She wasn't like those women who wore fake eyelashes, grafted eyelashes, or wore black mascara. Huamian's eyelashes weren't close, thick, or even curled up automatically. But because they were so natural, they gave off a refreshing feeling. She never put on makeup and only did basic skincare, so her skin was really good. It was white and bright. She didn't wear any lipstick, so her lips were a natural light red, looking moist and glossy. Her face wasn't very stunning, but it made people feel very comfortable looking at it. Suyu even thought that if he kissed her, her lips would definitely taste good. When this thought popped up in his mind, he was shocked. He had really seen a ghost. Finally, after looking deeply at Huamin, Suyu turned around and left. Hearing the footsteps disappear, Huamin opened her eyes, smiled, and said to herself, "This Suyu is as childish as a child, but he doesn't seem to have a bad temper. It seems that most of the rumors can't be trusted." Huamin didn't see Suyu being violent. At most, he just pissed him off. Therefore, she only thought that Suyu was a little childish and wasn't as bad as the rumors said. This could be seen from the fact that he had snatched his seaweed roll just now. What did the Su family's crown prince mean? They were making a mountain out of a molehill. Qin Manor Jiang Linyue sat on the sofa in the living room, flattered. She didn't know why the president's wife invited her to their house. It was her first time entering the Qin Manor, and it was indeed luxurious. The maid cut some fruit and poured some flower tea. Qin Chu walked down from the second floor, looking elegant and graceful. "Madam." Jiang Linyue immediately stood up and greeted her. "Take a seat." Jiang Linyue sat down cautiously, and Lady Qin sat down on the leather sofa beside her. "Don't be nervous. I called you here today not because of the company, but because of some personal matters. The chairman is not at home, so you can relax a little." "Yes, madam." Jiang Linyue smiled. Today she was wearing a beige business suit, black high heels, black stockings, and exquisite makeup. Jiang Linyue was one of the most beautiful women in the entire GK corporation. She had many suitors, but she was proud and arrogant. She never looked at those people in the eye. She just felt that being by Qin Chu's side was the best home for her. Luo Feifei's matter has been a hot topic these days. I was going to believe it and ask Chu, but then I saw the public relations department of the company send a letter to terminate the contract and never use Luo Feifei again. I guess that woman wants to use my son to get the position, so she angered him. Jiang Linyue nodded. That's right. With President Qin's status, he wouldn't have anything to do with those actresses with bad reputations. As an employee of GK, I trust him very much. Lady Qin nodded in satisfaction. I'm happy to hear that. I personally don't want Chu to get involved with those women in the entertainment industry. Most of those women have dirty backgrounds and are unscrupulous on their way to fame. They have too many scandals, so of course they don't have the right to enter the Qin family. No, they don't even have the chance to get close to President Qin. President Qin is very clean. Jiang Linyue praised. She secretly observed and noticed that Qin Chu never had intimate contact with any woman. He always went to work on time, and no one other than Assistant Yang was allowed to get close to him. I know my own son, but rumors are scary. He's so outstanding, but he's never had a girlfriend. People will gossip about him. The Qin family has always valued our reputation, and I really don't want people to seize the opportunity to spread rumors. Then, has President Qin never had a girlfriend? In fact, Jiang Linyue also wanted to know if Qin Chu was gay. Chapter 207. Lady Qin's expression changed slightly upon hearing this. I did, but we broke up not long after. We weren't suitable for each other. That was a long time ago. Not long after that, my son left the country. I'm not sure if he has a girlfriend in the States because he rarely talks to me about it. Oh, I see. Then you don't have to worry, Mrs. Qin. If President Qin had a girlfriend before, then it's not like what the rumors say. Jiang Linyue seemed relieved. Little Jiang, there's something I want to ask you. I hope you can tell me the truth. Go ahead, Mrs. Qin. Do you like Chu? Lady Qin stared at Jiang Linyue's face and asked. Jiang Linyue immediately blushed. Then she bit her lip and nodded. Lady Qin smiled. Do you want to date him? Jiang Linyue raised her head, a bit dejected. President Qin won't like me. How do you know if you don't try? Mrs. Qin, you mean? Jiang Linyue couldn't believe that Mrs. Qin was trying to help her. Seeing Jiang Linyue's shock, Lady Qin continued, Your background is very clean, I like it. Although you're not from a famous family, you're still from a scholarly family. Your family members all immigrated and you're a simple family. You're highly educated and excellent at your job. You're my ideal daughter-in-law. Mrs. Qin. Jiang Linyue was extremely excited and didn't know what to say. Anyways, I'll create opportunities for the two of you. I believe that sincerity can move metal and stone. Although Chu's personality is cold, you'll get used to him after a while. Thank you, Mrs. Qin. Jiang Linyue immediately nodded in gratitude. Then Jiang Linyue ate dinner at the Qin manor. After dinner, Qin Chu suddenly came home. Mom, what's up? Is Dad not feeling well again? Qin Chu opened the door and walked in. Oh no, your dad's in good health. He went to the hot springs in the mountains to recuperate. He's not home. Qin Chu didn't say anything after hearing this, but he saw Jiang Linyue standing next to his mother. President Qin, Jiang Linyue greeted him. Why are you here? Qin Chu looked displeased. I'm the one who asked Xiao Jiang to come and report to me about the company's situation. I've been taking care of your father recently and haven't had time to go over. If there's nothing else, I'll go back first, Qin Chu said and turned to leave. Chu, the driver asked for leave today and it's not easy to get a taxi here. Why don't you give Xiao Jiang a ride? After all, she's an employee of our company, Lady Qin suddenly said. Qin Chu turned around to look at his mother, then at Jiang Linyue. Finally, he said, let's go. Jiang Linyue was ecstatic to see Qin Chu agree, and Lady Qin gave her an encouraging look. She jogged behind Qin Chu and got into the Maybach. To her surprise, as soon as she opened the door to the passenger seat, Qin Chu said coldly, Go sit at the back. Yes, President Qin. Jiang Linyue didn't dare to say anything else and sat in the back. At first, neither of them spoke and Jiang Linyue didn't dare to say anything either, afraid that she would say something wrong. Suddenly, Qin Chu asked, My mom must have said something to you since she asked you to come, right? Oh, nothing, it's all about work. You can't lie to me. I can imagine what kind of deal you guys made. To be honest, I really hate you, so don't think about unrealistic things. My mom's opinion doesn't represent me. I know, President Qin. Jiang Linyue nodded. But in order to make sure my mom doesn't bother me anymore, let's make a deal. What deal? Jiang Linyue was slightly surprised. Chapter 208. In the future, no matter what my mom says to you, just brush her off. You don't have to say too much. I think that since you're the one she likes, she won't have time to find another woman for me after she spends all her time on you. That's not a bad idea. Jiang Linyue immediately understood what Qin Chu meant. She asked carefully, President Qin, are you saying that you want me to be a spy and help you put on an act to hide it from Mrs. Qin? I can give you a 2% raise. I don't care about the salary, President Qin. You don't understand me. Jiang Linyue wanted to say more but was interrupted by Qin Chu. If you don't agree to my proposal, then you will be transferred to the branch in Malaysia tomorrow. Jiang Linyue, the big boss, was indeed ruthless. If the deal didn't work out, then he had to be ruthless. In the end, Jiang Linyue had no choice but to compromise. I agree to your proposal, President Qin. Good. After speaking, Qin Chu stepped on the brakes and said, Get out of the car here and take a taxi home. You can report the taxi fee to the finance department tomorrow. Jiang Linyue got out of the car uncomfortably and watched Qin Chu's Maybach drive away. He was always so heartless, even kicking her out of the car halfway, but she still couldn't give up on him. When Huamin got off work, they encountered rush hour and were stuck in traffic. They had to wait for one red light after another. Huamin was bored. She took out her phone, took a picture of the traffic jam and posted it on her WeChat friend circle. She wrote, The new gambling city has been born. From now on, Las Vegas will no longer dominate the world, but our great sea city will be famous overseas. Zhu Lingling immediately commented, I agree, let's just call our city the gambling city from now on. Jing Zixin also posted a comment, Sis, did you buy a car? Huamin immediately replied, No, the new company gave me one. Zixin was naive and believed her without a doubt. He even sent a cheering emoji, Sis, you're the best. Take me for a ride someday. Huamin was just about to reply when the light changed. She immediately focused on driving. When she passed by a big supermarket, she parked her car on the side of the road, planning to go in and buy some fruits and vegetables. Yet he saw such a scene. A woman was kicked to the ground with a pained expression. Not only did the man not stop, he kept hitting her. There were many onlookers, but no one stopped them. Huamin had mixed feelings when he saw the couple clearly. It was none other than Yuan Finfin, the pregnant woman she had risked her life to save some time ago. The person who hit her was her husband. Hubby, I beg you, please come home. Our daughter misses you very much. The woman cried miserably. You're such a jinx. You only know how to cry. No wonder I'm so unlucky. I lost a lot of money and almost went to jail. I'm so fucking disheartened. I'll beat you to death, the man scolded and hit him. Don't hit her. What kind of man are you if you hit your wife? The passers-by tried to comfort him. Get lost. We're a couple. Even the police don't care. It's none of your business. The man's attitude was arrogant. The woman was sobbing on the ground. After Huamin took one look, he was no longer in the mood to buy groceries. He turned around and got into his car. She wouldn't stop him. Previously, she had saved her out of kindness and was almost bitten by her. Therefore, Huamin didn't feel that this woman was pitiful. As the saying goes, a pitiful person must have a detestable side. That man often used domestic violence against her. Not only did she refuse to divorce him, she even thought that she wouldn't be able to live without him. A woman like this was destined to never find happiness. Previously, when she begged Huamin to let her husband go, it was reasonable. However, she played a little trick in front of so many people which made Huamin extremely uncomfortable. Actually, even if she didn't act so much and went to Huamin alone, Huamin still might have let her husband go. Huamin only felt that the result of that incident was that they didn't cause trouble for the hospital. It was good enough that the hospital and he were innocent. However, right now Huamin was thinking that a jerk like this would be better off in jail. It would be a disaster if he was released. The reason why they were where they were today was simply because of one word: retribution. Tragedies all stemmed from their own choices. After a little delay, it was almost 7 o'clock by the time she got home. Huamin walked in empty-handed. As soon as she walked in, she smelled the smell of cooking oil. She walked to the kitchen door in shock and saw a very melodramatic scene. Chin Chu was wearing a white shirt and black trousers, cooking. That's right, our almighty Chin was cooking. Boss Chin, can you tell me what you're doing? Huamin asked curiously. Chapter 209. I'm learning how to cook Chinese food. The simple yet powerful words left Huamin a little dumbfounded. Why do you want to learn how to cook Chinese food? I can do it. Huamin thought that the food she made was delicious, so she was the only one who knew how to cook. Chin Chu had been in the States for 7 years, and if he wanted to learn, he would have to start all over again. How troublesome would that be? Don't you like Chinese food? But I know how to make it myself. Huamin was helpless. Sometimes you get off work late, so you're tired and hungry. I get off work early and have nothing to do anyway, Chin Chu slowly said. Then he poured the mushrooms from the wok onto a plate. The faint aroma of the mushrooms drifted over, and Huamin's eyes immediately became misty. She was touched again. The truth was, it wasn't a big deal for a husband to cook for his wife. However, Chin Chu wasn't an ordinary husband. He was so busy that he could fly. He was the CEO of GK, and he wished that he could have 72 hours a day. The 7 subsidiary companies under GK were all leaders in their respective industries. Chin Chu had meetings that lasted 4 to 5 hours every day. However, he still went to work on time every day and cooked for her. How could she not be moved? Wash your hands and get changed, the food is ready. Huamin didn't say anything. She went upstairs, changed into a set of home clothes and washed her hands. When she sat down at the dining table, she saw that the 4 dishes and 1 soup were already on the table. Judging by the color alone, she knew that they were going to taste good. They looked delicious, Huamin exclaimed as she looked at the dishes. Steamed sea bass, mushroom stir-fried meat, bitter gourd fried eggs and braised pork ribs. The soup was seafood soup and clams floated on top of it. Chin Chu picked up the soup bowl, filled it with seafood and handed it to her. Thank you. Huamin took a small bite and gave her a thumbs up. It's super good, I don't even know how to make this. How did you figure it out? The chef at the company's restaurant taught me. He's pretty good, so I asked him. Impressive. It seems that the chefs of big companies are indeed different. Huamin smiled. Because it was Chin Chu's first time cooking, Huamin ate a lot. He ate 1.5 bowls of rice. In the end, she couldn't help but say, if it weren't for the fact that I'm afraid of getting fat, I would really want to eat another bowl. It's okay. I won't mind if you're fat. But I despise myself. There's no spring for fatties. Huamin blinked his eyes, looking especially adorable. Chin Chu looked at Huamin's expression and felt very satisfied. All he wanted was to be with Huamin and have a simple little happiness. The next morning, Huamin arrived at the recuperation area. He changed into his work clothes and measured the blood pressure of the old man in room 2. Sir, please take it easy these days. You can't steal desserts anymore. Your blood sugar is already higher than before. Hey, got it. Hey girl, when you're free later, why don't we play a game of chess? The old man's eyes glowed with excitement and anticipation. Ever since he found out that Huamin's chess skills were superb, the old man had been clamoring to play chess every day. Okay, but wait a moment. I have to go next door and give the young master an 4-drip. After speaking, Huamin returned to the on-call desk. He picked up the medicine that he had prepared and walked towards room 1. At this time, the bodyguard seemed to have gone to eat breakfast. Only one person on duty was left. He was busy sending messages on WeChat and didn't notice Huamin enter. After knocking on the door, Huamin pushed the door open and entered. Then the scene in front of her made her feel extremely awkward. A beautiful woman with a hot body took off her clothes and clung onto Su Yu's body. Her actions were extremely suggestive. Huamin's sudden appearance shocked the beautiful woman. She immediately pulled her clothes up with a flustered expression. I'm sorry. You guys continue. After speaking, Huamin turned around and left. Huamin, get your ass back here. Su Yu yelled loudly. Chapter 210. Hey, this isn't good, is it? Huamin turned around awkwardly. How could she have known that something like this would happen so early in the morning, especially in a hospital room? Su Yu looked at the beauty beside him impatiently. Get out of here. Young Master Su? The beauty seemed reluctant. Get out of here, stop talking nonsense. The beauty reluctantly put on her clothes with tears in her eyes and walked out. When she passed by Huamin, she glared at her fiercely. She seemed to be blaming her for ruining her plans. Huamin glanced at the beauty and muttered to herself, Why does she look so familiar? Is she the host of the Travel Channel at 8 o'clock every night? There's a show called Around the World? Are all the bodyguards outside dead? How could they let you in? Siyu said angrily. It had been a few days since he came to this shitty sanatorium and he was almost living like a monk. Coincidentally, the female host came to deliver breakfast, so Siyu wanted to satisfy his craving. However, he didn't expect that damn girl Huamin to bump into him. However, the strange thing was, after Huamin ruined his plans, Siyu was no longer in a good mood. No matter how he looked at the woman, he was annoyed, so he immediately kicked her out. When she heard Suyu's question, Huamin answered honestly, I saw 3 of them go to eat breakfast and the last one was texting on WeChat. Based on his state of concentration, he must have fallen in love, so he completely ignored my existence. Suyu raised his head and glanced at Huamin. He said angrily, Do you think you're Detective Conan? You're analyzing the case for me. How could my bodyguard not know? Huamin immediately shut up and didn't say anything else. Come here. Suyu beckoned her over with his finger. What? Isn't it in 4 drip? Hurry up, I don't want to stay in this damned place any longer. Suyu was a little impatient. It was rare for young Master Su to take the initiative to ask for an 4 drip. Huamin walked over and inserted the needle. Suyu seemed to have gotten used to Huamin's technique and was no longer resistant to acupuncture. When Huamin was very close to her, he lowered his head and a few strands of his long hair fell down. Suyu actually wanted to reach out and lift her hair for her. At this moment, Huamin suddenly raised his head. Seeing Death Killer raise his head, he immediately asked defensively, What are you doing? She wondered if she had hurt this ancestor and he was going to beat her up. Unexpectedly, Suyu replied, Oh, I want to see if your hair is real. Or did you pick it up? What does it have to do with you? What kind of fetish do you have? Huamin glanced at her cautiously and muttered to himself. His excuse wasn't perfect enough. Suyu felt quite awkward and immediately changed the topic. The seaweed rolls from yesterday were pretty good. Go home and make them again today and bring them to me tomorrow. Why should I? Huamin crossed his arms and looked at Suyu. Because I'm your patient. The hospital doesn't have such a rule. You're so rich that you can get Tripitaka's meat if you want. Why should you eat my seaweed rolls? I think it's delicious. Why do you ask so many questions? You're crazy. Huamin turned around and was about to leave. Hey, come back. What else do you want? Huamin turned around. The weather outside is pretty good. Help me out for a walk. Your bodyguard did this, didn't he? Huamian was slightly taken aback, wondering what was wrong with this ancestor. I'm tired of their beauty. Today it's your turn. Me? Huamin was about to refuse when he heard Suyu say, This is within the scope of a nurse's job. If you refuse, I'll immediately file a complaint against you. Huamin had no choice but to carefully help Suyu up. They took the elevator downstairs and arrived at the hospital's back garden. The air outside was indeed very good. The sun was shining brightly. Huamin naturally had to have physical contact with him because he had to support him. Suyu confidently raised her arms and hugged Huamin's thin shoulders. There was a small gap between the 1.85 meters tall Suyu and the 1.65 meters tall Huamin. Huamin was about to say that there was a pavilion in front and that they should sit down. Then she realized that Suyu had lowered his head and was looking at her chest. Then the guy said shamelessly, No wonder you always wear a white coat. It's so small. Chapter 211. In a fit of anger, Huamin suddenly loosened her grip. Suyu lost his balance and fell to the ground. Stupid girl, why did you loosen your grip? Are you trying to get me killed? This is called breakdown therapy. Huamin looked at him provocatively, taking revenge for what he said just now. What kind of lousy therapy is this? I want to complain. Suyu protested. Hey, I'll just quit. You make it sound like I don't want to live without this job. Do you listen to me? I've served you enough. You're not even as easygoing as the old man next door. I'd rather play chess with the old man than give you acupuncture treatment in fear. With that, Huamin turned and left. Suyu was alone on the grass. He couldn't get up and there was no one else nearby. Being left in the hospital's backyard by Huamin and exposed to the sun for 10 minutes, Suyu was furious. In the end, it was a passing nurse who found out and quickly helped Suyu back. After he returned to his room, he picked up his phone and immediately wanted to call the person in charge of the rehabilitation center. But when he was about to dial the number, he paused. Huamin was right. At worst, she would just quit. If Huamin left, those stupid nurses would give him acupuncture treatment. They might end up like the first idiot and he would suffer. After convincing himself, Suyu decided to be magnanimous and forgive the stupid girl this time. But unexpectedly, Huamin took the initiative to say that she wouldn't take care of Suyu anymore. The reason was simple. Not only was he hard to please, but he also took advantage of her from time to time. She couldn't stand it. Take today's incident for example. If Qin Chu knew about it, he would strangle her to death. Although she didn't marry Qin Chu willingly, Huamin thought that she couldn't be too intimate with other men outside. Huamin, don't be like this. If you don't do it, no one else will dare to do it. You are the best candidate. The nurse, Nan, kept trying to persuade her. It won't happen. We have so many nurses here. There must be someone with good skills. Besides, infusion is not difficult. You'll get used to it after a few times. It'll be the same without me. Huamin, did young Master Su make things difficult for you? The head nurse couldn't help but ask. Huamin nodded. Huamin, how about this? I'll give you an extra 500 yuan every day. I'll apply to the higher-ups. Huamin raised her hand and interrupted the head nurse. Head nurse, it's not about money. I just don't want to take care of him anymore. Leave the old man in room 2 to me or transfer me to the neurosurgery department. I'd rather take care of patients with cerebral palsy. Huamin thought, even taking care of patients with cerebral palsy is better than taking care of Suyu, right? At least patients with cerebral palsy wouldn't be so overbearing and domineering. Although she was a caring nurse, it wasn't like she didn't have a temper. If a tiger didn't show its might, people would think that she was a sick cat. Hearing Huamin's words, the head nurse didn't insist and only nodded. In the evening, a new nurse was transferred to perform the acupuncture. As soon as she walked in, she was kicked out by Suyu. He said, let Huamin do it. Young Master Su, Huamin won't be responsible for your infusion anymore, the nurse stuttered. Why? Suyu coldly glanced at the nurse's frightened face. She said. The nurse was so scared that she didn't know what to say. Are you stuttering? Hurry up and tell me, what did she say? Suyu was about to go crazy. She said that she'd rather go to the neurosurgery department to take care of patients with cerebral palsy than take care of you, young Master Su. After hearing this, Suyu's face immediately darkened. Great, this damned girl, he didn't even hold it against her for leaving him exposed to the sun in the backyard during the day, but she dared to play tricks on him. Chapter 212. Go get your head nurse. T was a little angry. However, when the head nurse, Song Lin, arrived, she only apologized profusely and did not mention anything about Huamin. In the end, Suyu had no choice but to put down his pride and ask, Huamin, that brat, let her take care of me from now on. Don't let other nurses come over, they're as dumb as pigs. What young Master Su was implying was that Huamin was the only one among the nurses who had good skills and that she liked the most. Most importantly, Huamin was not an ordinary nurse. Although she did not have a doctor's license, she was a nurse who could perform cesarean sections on pregnant women. Just from this point alone, one could tell that her medical skills were superb. President Wu was right. With Huamin's current talent, it would be a waste of her talent to be a nurse. However, who asked Huamin to be willing? Hearing Suyu ask about Huamin, Song Lin was a little nervous. Young Master Su, I'm sorry, but Huamin, no matter what she thinks, just transfer her over. Money is negotiable. Just ask her how much she wants and name a price. Is 100,000 yuan a day enough? Suyu waved his hand, looking like he did not care at all. In fact, he was not confident because he knew that Huamin was not interested in money. Last time when he used money to buy seaweed rolls, that brat refused to sell. It's not about money, young Master Su. As expected, Song Lin's answer was within his expectations. I don't believe that there's anything in this world that money can't solve. Suyu's temper flared up and he snorted coldly. Young Master Su, Huamin is different. How is she different? Don't they all have the same nose and bright eyes? She doesn't look good, her chest is pitifully small and she has a bad temper. There's really nothing special about this kind of woman. Suyu commented stubbornly. Song Lin smiled and explained, Huamin's way of thinking is different from others. At first I thought she was like that too, but later on I realized that she's very strange. She works according to her preferences. Although her performance is outstanding, she can be quite willful at times. Actually, Song Lin was right. Hua Min's character aside, his work was indeed outstanding, but his personality was too willful. No matter what she said, Song Lin refused to treat Su Yu as an important person. There were a few times when Song Lin thought that young Master Su would burn down the recuperation center because of his anger. However, not only was Hua Min careless, but she also directly refused to take care of Su Yu. Her reason was that she was better at taking care of people with cerebral palsy than him. If Su Yu himself knew about this, he would probably explode. Song Lin didn't know that Su Yu already knew about this classic saying. Although he was furious, he still calmed down and asked Hua Min to take care of him personally. That way he would have more opportunities to interact with Hua Min and then take revenge. You're her boss, you can give her a strict order. Su Yu looked at Song Lin and gave her an idea. But if I do that, she'll quit her job. I'll be in a difficult position, young Master Su. What? She'd rather quit than take care of me? Su Yu's strong self-esteem was suddenly hurt. She's probably afraid that if she doesn't take care of you well, she'll be responsible. Young girls these days are very smart and don't want to take on too much responsibility, Song Lin explained gently. Okay, you can leave now. Seeing that Song Lin didn't have a choice, Su Yu waved his hand and didn't want to waste any more time with her. He picked up his phone and dialed a number. Did you find anything? Sorry, young master, not yet. Her background is very simple, so I couldn't find anything. Could you be wrong? Su Yu's face immediately darkened. Are you doubting my orders? No, young master, I was just thinking that such an ordinary woman shouldn't have any background. Chapter 213. What do you know? My deductions have never been wrong. What a bunch of useless people. Continue investigating. After hanging up, Su Yu lay on the bed with a complicated look in his eyes. He treated Hua Min differently. What piqued his interest was not the argument with her at the hospital, but her background. He did some research and found out that Hua Min did not come from a good family. She had a younger brother and a mother. Her stepfather had passed away, and her biological father's identity was a mystery. For such a seemingly ordinary person to be able to turn the tables in an instant under the bombardment of the media and internet trolls, successfully clearing her name and turning her into someone of high status. First of all, the hospital did not have the ability to do such a thing. Second of all, Hua Min and Wu Zhongxing were not related in any way. That was very strange. Hua Min was just an ordinary woman. What kind of powerful force was secretly helping her deal with the aftermath? Previously, when he saw the news on TV, Su Yu vaguely felt that this little nurse's background was not simple. However, after coming into contact with Hua Min, he found out that she was an extremely strange woman. All of this piqued Su Yu's interest. He thought that he had to get to know her better. This was getting more and more interesting. Hua Min's refusal to be Su Yu's personal nurse instantly became the biggest news in the Southern Recuperation Center. During lunch at the cafeteria, Hua Min became an extremely rare existence in everyone's eyes. Everyone was pointing fingers at her. Look, you've already become the news of our hospital? Nan said with a smile. Hua Min did not say much. She just lowered her head and ate silently. She had already kept a very, very low profile, but she still could not avoid being the subject of gossip wherever she went. Hua Min didn't know why, but it was as if it was fated to happen. Hua Min, are you really not going to take care of Su Yu? Yes. In response to Nan's question, Hua Min only responded with a simple yes. But if you miss this opportunity, won't you regret it? Although young Master Su has a bad temper, it's the dream of all the nurses at Southside to be his personal nurse. Do you know how many nurses are jealous of you? If they want to go, then they can go. Why are you jealous? Nonsense, they can't go. Do you think that young Master Su will take a fancy to anyone? By the way, young Master Su treats you quite well. You have given him so many injections, but he has never lost his temper. Do you have any unique skills? Nan asked mysteriously. Hua Min looked helpless. He finished the last mouthful of rice on his plate and raised his head to look at the young lady opposite him. I really don't have that. Oh. Then it's probably because your technique is good that it doesn't hurt. Hey Hua Min, teach me, I want to learn from you. Please, that's the most basic skill. Didn't you learn it in medical school? Hua Min was both angry and amused. Nan Nan had been a nurse for a long time, but she still had to learn from Huamin. Huamin really wondered if she had paid attention in medical school. Why didn't she know the most basic skills? It was fine if she didn't know, but why was such an inexperienced nurse hired by Southside? Was it just because she was good-looking? Yes, I learned it. But young Master Su is different. He's harder to serve. Please, Huamin. Unable to resist Nan Nan's pleading, Huamin taught Nan Nan some of his acupuncture techniques in the afternoon after he finished taking care of the old man in Ward 2. The young lady went all out and began experimenting on her own arm. In the afternoon, her arm was densely covered with needle marks. After work, Huamin was driving home when his phone suddenly rang. He glanced at it and saw that it was from Ning Ziyuan, so he didn't pick it up. 3 minutes later, he received another text message. It said, Huamin, I'm getting married to Wu Xiaoxue on the 17th of next month. It's on the 3rd floor of Xingjing Hotel. It starts at 9 a.m. Remember to come and attend. Chapter 214. For some reason, Huamin's usual route home was especially congested today. She finally lost her patience and turned around to walk through a small alley. She bypassed the overpass and walked past GK's headquarters. The skyscraper was dozens of stories high, and when it was dark, it would light up with an aqua blue color. It was especially mesmerizing and looked like a water cube. It was said that this building had become the most iconic building in Sea City. What was even more ridiculous was that when tourists came to visit, they would come here to take pictures. It was as if this building had become a famous attraction in Sea City. Huamin once joked with Qin Chu about whether GK should directly develop tourism. Qin Chu stubbornly replied that he didn't have time for that right now and would think about it later. When they passed by Qin Chu's company, the traffic was unexpectedly congested again. Perhaps it was because it was rush hour, so there were too many cars. Bored, Huamin picked up her phone and scrolled through it. Suddenly, an idea popped up in her mind. So she sent a WeChat message to Qin Chu. President Qin, I'm downstairs at your company. May I have the honor of having dinner with you? When Qin Chu saw the WeChat message, he was in the conference room discussing GK's jewelry release plan for the next quarter. Jiang Linyue vividly explained the details of the event, including the prices of a few popular jewelry brands, and the marketing trends after they were released. As soon as Qin Chu's phone rang, everyone looked over. Qin Chu only had one person on WeChat, and that was Huamin. He didn't even add Gao Ran, he just called him if he needed anything. After reading the WeChat message, Qin Chu quickly stood up and interrupted Jiang Linyue. I have to go out for a bit. You guys continue. President Qin, how can we continue if you leave? Jiang Linyue wanted to cry but had no tears. She prepared for this meeting for 2 whole weeks. She couldn't eat or sleep well because she wanted to perform well in front of the president and receive his praise. Qin Chu glanced at his assistant. Record the video and send it to my email. I'll watch it when I have time. After saying that, President Qin turned and walked out of the conference room, leaving more than a dozen executives in the room. Most of them seemed to have gotten used to the new president's style of doing things. Although this new CEO would always leave halfway or be late and leave early and was unreasonably willful. However, it had to be said that GK's profits were skyrocketing. It was said that last month's profits had surpassed last year's profits. The old chairman even personally visited the company to inspect the company. It was obvious that he was very happy. Huamin looked at his phone for a long time without receiving a reply. He thought that Qin Chu was busy, so he didn't think much of it and drove away. Just then someone knocked on the car window. She turned her head, her face full of shock. Oh, why did you come out? Didn't you ask me out for dinner? Qin Chu asked seriously. To Huamin it was just a joke, but to Qin Chu, it was the first time Huamin had asked him out for a meal after 7 years. How could he not come? But are you off work? Huamin carefully noticed that the lights in the entire building were still on. Perhaps all the departments were still working overtime. Qin Chu didn't answer. Instead, he walked to the front passenger seat, opened the door and sat down. He looked at Huamin and asked, "What are we going to eat? How about Uxin's ramen?" Huamin asked out of the blue. The truth was she wanted to eat it herself. "Let's go," Qin Chu ordered as he pointed at the steering wheel. Therefore, Huamin's unintentional joke became a reality. Not only did he have dinner with President Qin, but he also had dinner with President Qin. He even had to be his chauffeur. Inside the noodle restaurant, the two ordered ramen and some side dishes and ate with relish. Looking at the students coming and going of second high, Huamin suddenly felt that it was good to be young. She ate so happily that she didn't even notice the soup stains on the corner of her mouth. Chin Chu put down his chopsticks, picked up a tissue and gently wiped her mouth. Huamin looked at Chin Chu and felt like she had traveled back in time to 7 years ago. "You're looking at me so affectionately. I have a feeling that you still love me," Chin Chu suddenly said. Chapter 215. Ahem, that's why I said that you were just imagining things. Huamin replied awkwardly. Then she buried her head in her noodles and didn't say anything else. Chin Chu's eyes were slightly disappointed. He knew that she still had feelings for him, but he didn't think that she wouldn't dare to face it or admit it. This also proved that she still hadn't let go of what happened 7 years ago. So, when would they be able to let go of the knot in their hearts? After dinner, Chin Chu and Huamin went home together. Chin Chu went upstairs to deal with work, while Huamin went downstairs to change into her home clothes and start cleaning. At 8:30 p.m., Chin Chu seemed to have finished his work and went downstairs to read the financial news. Huamin, on the other hand, was holding onto her tablet and watching a TV show. Then she suddenly remembered something and said, "Oh yeah, Ning Xion called me today but I didn't pick up. Then he texted me." "Who's Ning Xion?" Chin Chu looked up. Huamin was speechless. Here we go again. This guy always pretended to have selective amnesia in front of people he didn't like. With Chin Chu's intelligence, there was no way he would forget a person's name. He was just being arrogant and pretending not to remember. "That's my top-notch ex. Oh, is he trying to get back together with you?" Chin Chu asked nonchalantly. Huamin shuddered. How could that be? He's going to marry Wu Xiaoxue on the 17th of next month. So, you want me to help you steal the bride? Come on, can you be more serious? Huamin was speechless at Chin Chu's nonsensical answer. Chin Chu glanced at her faintly and continued, "If I wasn't serious, would you still be sitting here in perfect condition?" Huamin, who thought of herself as a pure child, immediately understood what he meant. Okay, let's talk about something else. I'm just telling you, I don't plan on going to the wedding." "You have to go to the wedding," Chin Chu said as she watched the news. "Why? Aren't we going to have to spend money on the wedding gift?" "I'm not going to do that." Huamin didn't want to waste a single cent on someone like Ning Ziyuan. "No, you have to go and you have to spend more money," Chin Chu said stubbornly. Huamian was speechless when Chin Chu added, "I want him to know how rich your husband is. I want him to know that leaving him was the right decision. I want him to know that no matter how hard he works, he'll never be richer than me. I want him to give up on any thoughts of breaking up with me." Huamin didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Chin Chu was so childish. He made it sound like she married him for money. Plus, Ning Ziyuan wouldn't be so stupid as to compete with the president of GK in terms of money, right? The next morning, Chin Chu went to work. Huamin was on vacation, so she had a lot of free time. She was wondering if she should eat with Lingling or go to school to see Jixin. Just then her phone rang from an unknown number. "Is this Huamin?" A young man's voice came from the other end. "That's me. I'm Huasi," he said. "It's you? What's up?" Huamin was quite surprised to hear that it was Huasi. She had never interacted with him before. Back at her grandmother's funeral, he provoked her and she retorted back. Both of them didn't get along very well. She knew that SIM cards used real names, so it wasn't hard for Huasi to get her number. However, this person called her out of the blue. Something bad must have happened. Chapter 216. Dad had a heart attack last night and was hospitalized. He's in the VIP room of the first hospital. Can you come and see him? He wants to see you. I'm not free, that's all. After speaking, Huamin quickly hung up. What did Hu Jinghai being sick have to do with her? Didn't he have a bunch of filial sons? There was Huasiqian Huasi and that Hu Yanyan. She would be asking for trouble if she went. Plus, he never acknowledged her existence, so why should she go and humiliate herself? What identity would she use to go? What a joke. After the phone call, Huamin went home for some reason. On the way, she bought some fruits, vegetables and beef. When she entered the yard, Yang Merong was playing mahjong with a few neighbors. The atmosphere was quite good. "Me on your back." Everyone greeted her with a smile. Huamin smiled and went inside to wash the vegetables and prepare lunch. At noon, when only she and her mother were left in the house, she hesitated for a moment before saying, "Mom, Huasi called me today. He's the boy that Xinjiani gave birth to. He said that Hu Jinghai had a heart attack and is hospitalized. He wants to see me, but I won't go. I know that a lot of people might say that I'm unfilial and that I don't even care about my own father, but I don't want you to feel bad. I think that you and Jishin are the only family I have left in this life. I can't make you sad." Huamin's words moved Yang Mirong a little. After hearing this, she didn't speak for a long time. She just ate in silence. After she finished eating, she suddenly said, "Clean up and come with me to the hospital. We're going to see him." Huamin didn't expect her mother's reaction and was slightly surprised. "Mom?" Huamin seemed to want to persuade her. "I know what to do, come with me." Then Huamin cleaned up the dishes and went out with her mother to the first hospital. In the taxi, Huamin didn't say anything. She didn't know what her mother was thinking. Was it because he was sick that her heart softened and she wanted to bury the hatchet and talk about old times with him? Or was it because she saw that he was sick and received his retribution, so she decided to taunt him? But no matter what Huamin thought at this moment, she would support her mother unconditionally. No matter how cold and harsh her mother was to her, she at least raised her from a young age and provided for her food and clothing. The grace of raising her was greater than the heavens. She knew this better than anyone else and would always remember it. In the VIP consultation room of the first hospital, news of Hu Jinghai's hospitalization was completely sealed off, so no media outlets knew about it. There were 2 bodyguards at the door. When Huamin and the others arrived at the door, they saw Xinjiani coming out. When she saw Yang Meirong, she smiled meaningfully. "Go in. He's waiting for you." Yang Meirong didn't say anything. She just glanced at Xinjiani coldly and walked in with Huamin. Yang Meirong actually had a good foundation and was quite pretty. It was just that many years of living an ordinary life had worn away all of her beauty. Xinjiani was different. She was about the same age as Yang Meirong, but because she lived in a rich family for many years and ate well, she looked at least 15 years younger than Yang Meirong and had a different aura. When Xinjiani glanced at Huamin, she glanced at her with mockery and disdain. Huamin ignored her and followed her mother into the room. The moment Hu Jinghai saw Yang Meirong, the apple in his hand fell to the ground. "You?" He was a bit shocked. "Mr. Hua, long time no see." Yang Meirong handed her bag to Huamin and sat down on the stool in front of Hu Jinghai with an elegant smile on her face. Chapter 217. Rong. Rong. Hu Jinghai squeezed out the 2 words with a complicated expression. "You haven't been in good health these past few years. I often see news about your illness on the news." Hu Jinghai smiled bitterly. "Yeah, I'm old and useless." Yang Meirong smiled. "How could that be? If you're useless, how could you have a son and a daughter with Xinjiani? Plus, the 2 families have been getting along well these past few years. You're actually quite successful as a person, but you're still a bit lacking as a father. Come look, our Mian is already 24 years old." Yang Meirong reached out and pulled Huamin forward. Hu Jinghai looked up, and when he saw Huamin, his expression was a bit complicated. Huamin looked very strange. She didn't look like Hu Jinghai at all, nor did she look like Yang Meirong at all. Could even be said that she was more outstanding than the 2 of them. She wasn't like Hu Yanyan, who used money to decorate her face with microplastic surgery and makeup. She just had to wear no makeup, but her aura was enough to overwhelm everyone. Many women were jealous of Hu Jinghai because of his love affairs. Gossip Entertainment once exposed that he kept 6 mistresses at the same time. Many of them had abortions for him, and a few of them were even sent to mental hospitals because of mental disorders. The drama back then was comparable to the harem of the Qing dynasty. Not to mention the scheming in the end, not many of them came out unscathed. As one of Hu Jinghai's lovers, Yang Meirong was both lucky and unlucky. She was lucky that she gave birth to Huamin and raised him safely. Unfortunately, all these years Huamin wasn't able to marry into the Hua family. In the eyes of outsiders, Yang Meirong's hopes of marrying into a rich family were dashed, and the gains didn't make up for the losses. However, many years later, it was a blessing to have a sensible daughter. "Mian, come here and call him Uncle Hua. He's more than 10 years older than your dad Jing." Yang Meirong's introduction stunned Huamin. Calling her own father uncle? Teaching her late uncle how to teach her father? His mother was clearly taking revenge. Although she knew it was inappropriate, Huamin still greeted him obediently. Uncle Hua. Rongrong, what do you mean by that? Hua Jinghai felt a little depressed when she called him uncle. It's nothing. I just wanted to say hello. Yang Mirong was still smiling brightly. I know you still hate me. Hua Jinghai sighed. What's there to hate? Now that I think about it, I have to thank you. Thank you for being so heartless back then and teaching me to let go of my feelings. That's why I always say that people shouldn't talk about feelings because feelings are nothing in the face of benefits. Even though I didn't have much money these past few years, I've been pretty happy. I have a son, a daughter, and a bunch of kind-hearted neighbors. But your health really isn't good. What's that saying again? It's not the time to take revenge, it's just not the time yet. After Yang Meirong said this, Hua Jinghai felt even more depressed. I know you hate me and it's only right that you do. But right now I want to make it up to you. I know I've let you and Mion down. I was wrong. Thank you for all these years. Hua Jinghai was emotional and his eyes turned red. Don't say that, Mr. Hua. I've been fine all these years, so you don't need to make it up to me. I was the one who raised my daughter and she has nothing to do with you. Let's forget about our past, but there's one thing I have to tell you and it's something I'll never forget. Back then, after De got into a car accident, he desperately needed 100,000 yuan for surgery. I begged you in the rain, I kowtowed to you, I knelt before you, but you were so cold that you refused to help him. I often think that 100,000 yuan is nothing to the Hua family, but if you were willing to lend it to me back then, De might not have died. So, you already owe De his life. Hua Jinghai, you heartless man, you will never have a good ending. I really want to see you die bit by bit, only then will I feel comforted. Yang Mirong said each word with a stern expression, and in the end she choked with sobs. Mom, stop talking. Hua Min couldn't bear to see his mother so emotional. He knew that she wasn't in good health, so he immediately went up to help her up. Chapter 219. Hua Jinghai's hand shook slightly as he ate the apple. Then he sighed and said deliberately, "Sigh, I'm getting old and useless. I can't believe I miss Hua Min so much." Yeah, I could tell that she was a good girl at Grandma's funeral. Hua Xiqian smiled. But that child doesn't seem to want to forgive me. I don't know if I'll ever hear her call me Dad again. Hua Jinghai was a little moved. Hua Xiqian reached out and patted the back of Hua Jinghai's hand, comforting him. She will. Dad, don't worry, Mion isn't such a heartless person. She'll definitely come back, I promise. Are you close to Mion in private? Hua Jinghai asked tentatively. I really like her as a sister, but she doesn't like me. She won't even greet me when we meet. I don't have a choice. I want to get close to her and take care of her as her brother, but I don't even have the chance. Oh. Hua Jinghai seemed to be relieved. What's wrong? Dad, did Mion say something to you? Nothing. Seeing Hua Jinghai's expression, Hua Xiqian only smiled and didn't say anything else. On the way home, Hua Min took his mother to a mall near their home and bought her autumn thermal underwear and shoes. Yang Meirong kept saying that it was enough and wouldn't buy anything. In fact, Hua Min knew that she was afraid that he would spend too much money. Mom, don't worry, I've already transferred to another job. The salary here is very high, I can support you in Jixin. But you can't spend it recklessly. It's not easy to make money. Yang Meirong sighed. In the end, under Hua Min's insistence, Yang Meirong finally agreed to eat out at a restaurant. She only found a small dumpling restaurant and ordered 2 dumplings and a small side dish. Mom, what you said today, was it true? Back then, did you really beg that heartless man for Uncle Jing's sake? Yeah, I was at my wit's end back then and I was holding on to the last glimmer of hope. Then you went there today to taunt and humiliate him, right? Have you vented your anger now? Hua Min put a dumpling on his mother's plate. I can only vent my anger if he dies. The hatred between us is too deep. But Mia, remember, I won't stop you. If you still care about our father-daughter relationship, you can go and see her. You are you and I am me. I know the difference between us. Mom, do you think he really wants to make it up to me? Hua Min asked again. He doesn't look like he's faking it. I've never seen him cry in all the years I've known him. Today his eyes are red. Perhaps he's afraid that he won't be able to hear you call him Dad in the end? Yang Meirong sighed. Hua Min looked at his mother and took a bite of the side dish. Then he said slowly, Mom, that's why I said that you're still too naive. He saw through your weakness. You don't think he's sincere? Yang Meirong was a bit surprised. Hua Min sneered, haven't you heard of a type of tear called crocodile tears? Today he deliberately put on a show for us to see. He doesn't really want to beg for our forgiveness. He just wants to rope us in. Like I said, he wants us to get involved in the Hua clan's fight, then stand on his side and help him protect his son and daughter. But what if you guessed wrong? You didn't wrongly accuse him? Yang Mirong thought back to what just happened and felt that Hua Jinghai's emotions weren't fake. There's no way I guessed wrong. Who is he? Aside from the fact that he used to be your man by father? He's a huge business tycoon. Do you think a person like him hasn't seen anything? Why would he care about love? He hasn't looked for us all these years. Now that the Hua family is in a civil war, he suddenly has a conscience and wants to acknowledge me as his daughter? At the end of the day, he saw through human nature's weakness. When Grandma passed away, he asked me to go back home to pave the way for a dark relationship. Mom, I'm not you. I won't be used. You're too stupid, and that's why you ended up in this tragedy. I'll show you his true colors. I'll also let him know that he's not the only one who's heartless. His scheme won't succeed and he won't acknowledge me as his daughter. After speaking, Huamin lowered her head and ate the dumplings. One bite at a time, Yang Mirong was dumbfounded. She knew too little about her daughter's thoughts. Sometimes she even wondered if Huamin was really her daughter. Why was she so smart? She was so smart that it was scary. At 8 o'clock in the evening, Hua Yanyan drove Xinjiani's sports car to the hospital room. As soon as they entered the room, Hua Yanyan impatiently asked, "Dad, how did it go? Did those two idiots believe your act today? Did Huamin agree to come back and inherit the shares to help me and my brother?" Chapter 220. It's hard to say, I'm not sure what they're thinking yet. Hua Jinghai wasn't sure either. Huamin and Huamian believed him. Xinjiani walked over and held Hua Jinghai's hand with a gentle gaze. "Jinghai, thank you for your hard work. It's all for the kids. What are you talking about? Where's he? He's still preparing for his overseas work trip next month. I can tell that he's working very hard." Xinjiani tried her best to beautify Hua Xi's abilities in front of Hua Jinghai. Hua Jinghai nodded and didn't say anything else. He really loved Xinjiani and her children. Even though Hua Xi was a good-for-nothing and Hua Yanyan was arrogant and willful, he still thought of them as his real children. As for Huamin, he always had a disgusting thought in his heart. He thought that Huamin's daughter was unclean. After Yang Mirong got pregnant and failed to force her to abdicate, he hoped that she would obediently give birth to his child. Who would have thought that she would run away with his lowly driver, Jingda, and even start a family of her own? Therefore, Hua Jinghai always thought that Yang Mirong had an affair with Jingda when she was pregnant with Huamin. Therefore, even if it was his own child, he couldn't bring himself to like it. This was also the reason why he didn't care about the mother and daughter all these years. After walking out of the first hospital's room, Hua Yanyan complained, "Mom, when is my dad going to stop pretending to be sick? He's not sick at all. Why does he have to pretend that he's sick? If it weren't for Huamin's help, would my brother and I really be in danger? What if she took the shares and didn't help or helped Hua Xiqian deal with us? I heard that auntie went to Huamin before. Do you think your dad is stupid? Of course he wouldn't think of that. Although the shares were given to Huamin on the surface, she doesn't have the right to use them or sell them. Plus, those shares are tied to yours, which means that as long as she returns to the Hua family and inherits the shares, she has no choice but to stand on our side. Will she take the bait?" Hua Yanyan was a little worried. "That share is worth hundreds of millions. What do you think?" Xinjiani was sure that Huamin would take the bait because of money. In her eyes, no one could resist the temptation of money. For a 24-year-old girl who was afraid of being poor, a 24-year-old girl who had no experience in life, that amount of money could really be spent for a few lifetimes. Why would she not agree? If Huamin agreed to help them, would the money really go to Huamin? The answer was no. How could Xinjiani let Huamin get the money that belonged to her children? Asking Huamian to come back and help was just a delaying tactic. She wanted Jiang Hong to lose control of the situation. Huamin still had to get out of the Hua family. Unfortunately, they did not know that their wishful thinking seemed to be too perfect. Huamin was not that easy to deal with. Even if Huamin comes back, our chances of winning are not very high. Mom, Hua Xiqian is very scary. We have to think of another way. You know how scary Hua Xiqian is. I told you to find a rich and powerful family to marry into and support us. While Hua Xiqian is not married and does not have the support of his father-in-law's family, we should take the opportunity to strike first." Hua Yanyan immediately pouted. Mom, marriage is the most important thing in a lifetime. I don't want to be hasty. Now you're pretending to be reserved with me? Haven't you always liked Suyu? Don't you want to marry into the powerful Su family? Shinjiani asked her daughter. Chapter 221. Of course I want to, but Suyu has too many women around him. I don't have an advantage over him. Hui Yanyan lowered her head, looking unconfident. Yanyan, it's not that I'm pressuring you, but from the moment you were born into the Hua family, you didn't have the right to talk about freedom of marriage. Your marriage should only be based on benefits. Don't talk about love. Yanyan, you're still young. When you're my age, you'll understand, Shinjiani advised earnestly. Mom, none of the men in my circle are good. All of them treat relationships like child's play. I really don't want to be married to them, but Suyu is different. Although he has many women, he doesn't care about any of them. Those women are like clothes to him. He doesn't have any feelings for them. He's handsome and rich. I want to be the princess that everyone looks at. More than that, I want to be Suyu's favorite, just like how Dad loved you back then. So many socialites were looking forward to the Su family. No matter how bad-tempered Suyu was, there were still countless women who were willing to bow down to him. Hui Yanyan especially liked Suyu's looks and arrogant personality. However, Suyu didn't even care about her. She didn't have a chance to get close to Suyu. Shinjiani thought about it and said, the Su family is great, but young Master Su isn't easy to get close to. He's unpredictable. I'm afraid it won't be easy for you to carry out this plan. How would I know if I don't try? I have a few girlfriends who hang out with Suyu's buddies all day long. I'll always find a way to make him interested in me. Also, I'm different from those women. I'm clean and have no negative news. Once Suyu is interested in me, I'll strike while the iron is hot. Not only do I want to be with Suyu, but I also want to marry him and get the support of the Su family. Isn't the Su family a family with only one son? I just want to get pregnant with Suyu's child. That would be for the best. Shinjiani nodded approvingly. They only cared about their own sweet dreams. They didn't even think about the fact that Suyu would never marry Hui Yanyan. Even if he was willing to marry her, Hui Xiqian would not agree. He would not allow himself to have such a strong opponent. Moreover, Suyu still didn't know who Hui Yanyan was. Not to mention having Suyu's child. If Huimin were here, she would definitely say, Hui Yanyan, aren't you overthinking things? Huimin had planned to spend time with her mother during her vacation. After shopping for a day, she bought some things and ate with her mother. In the end, the mother and daughter took the bus back home. Mion, why don't you stay over tonight? I'll make you some handmade noodles with mushroom and meat sauce, Yang Merong emphasized. Handmade noodles with mushroom and meat sauce was her mother's specialty. It was delicious. She made it every time when she was little. Every time she made it, she would eat 3 big bowls. Jixin would also fight to eat, afraid that it wouldn't be enough. Hearing her mother's words, Huimin was slightly touched. She was about to agree to stay over tonight and spend time with her. Just then she received a call from the hospital. Mom, something came up at the hospital. I'll go back and see you another day. Hey, be careful. Yang Meirong reluctantly watched her daughter leave. After today's incident, she realized that her daughter didn't have it easy. She was unmoved by the Hua family's wealth. She felt very comforted to be on the same side as her. When they arrived at Southside Recuperation Center, Huimin didn't even have time to change and went straight to room 2. Uncle Lu, why didn't you listen? Didn't you say that you can't eat sweets? You have high blood sugar and high blood pressure and you're still recovering. You have to pay attention to your diet. I just ate a little bit of honey. Uncle Lu looked wronged. Chapter 222. Do you know how much sugar is in honey? I'm not trying to scare you, but if you don't take care of yourself, you'll die. I know. The old man nodded and didn't dare to talk back. Huimin injected insulin into the old man's stomach. Then she reminded him about his diet and threatened him, if you don't listen to me, I won't play chess with you anymore. You can stay here by yourself. I'll listen to you. The old man was like a child and his words were childish. After comforting the old man in room 2, Huimin walked out and stretched. Coincidentally, Suyu was walking out for rehabilitation with the help of the bodyguards. When Suyu saw Huimin, he was about to speak, but Huimin turned her face away and didn't even look at him. This made him angry and frustrated, but because of his pride he couldn't talk to her. Young Master Su, what do you want to eat tonight? I'll ask the chef to prepare it. The nurse Nan carefully walked over and asked. Suyu glanced at Huamin, who was sitting at the on-call desk, and said, I want to eat seaweed rolls. Seaweed rolls? Nan was slightly surprised. Huamin didn't respond. Instead she got up, grabbed her phone and keys and walked out. Nan, I'm leaving now. Uncle Lu's condition is stable now. Just pay attention to his diet. Okay. Then Huamin walked out. When Huamin walked past, Suyu childishly stuck out his foot. He wanted to trip her on purpose. However, Huamin seemed to have noticed this small movement. After Suyu stuck out his foot, she stepped on it without hesitation. You stepped on? Young Master Su cried out in pain before he could finish his sentence. Huamin glanced at him coldly. Su, how old are you? Suyu's face immediately darkened when he heard this. If you're an adult, please don't do such boring things. Doing these things will only lower your IQ. It's not good for your brain development. Nan, go and report this to the head nurse. The patient in room 1 not only has a problem with his legs, but he also seems to have some mental problems. After speaking, Huamin walked out of the door in a carefree manner. Nan secretly observed young Master Su. She noticed that his facial expression kept changing and he looked really good. Young Master Su, do you still want more seaweed rolls? Nan asked carefully. Do I look like a seaweed roll to you? Su asked snappily. Nan was so scared that she dared not make a sound. The bodyguards didn't dare to move either. They were as helpless as robots. Suyu took a deep breath and finally suppressed his anger. Come here, help me back. Suyu waved at the bodyguards and walked back to his room. If she didn't see it with her own eyes, Nan wouldn't have believed that Suyu was so calm when Huamin mocked him. He wasn't angry, he didn't complain, and he didn't smash Huamin's head with a glass bottle. Could it be that Huamin was really Suyu's natural nemesis? Everything had its nemesis? Even the head nurse Song Lin was shocked by this. Because of this, they were even more polite to Huamin. No matter what kind of patient he was, he would always be able to make them obedient. Because Huamin threatened to not play chess with him, the old man in room 2 took the initiative to eat light food and didn't dare to steal any more food. Huamin worked at Southside Recuperation Center for less than half a month, but he became famous. Gradually, news of him spread. Suyu lay on the hospital bed and thought about what just happened. He wasn't angry anymore and instead he smiled. Ever since he was young, this was the first time someone said that he had a problem with his IQ. Huamin was the first. He turned on his phone and searched for the video that Huamin talked about in front of the first hospital a while ago. The young girl who didn't have any makeup on, faced tens of thousands of reporters and calmed down the doctor-patient controversy with just a few words. For some reason, Suyu found her expressionless face and melodious voice very special. In the end, the video stopped at Huamin smiling slightly at the media. Suyu paused the video and looked at the video on his phone. The corner of his mouth twitched. Oh, me on image, I'm very good. My life will become more colorful because of your appearance. I'm looking forward to it. When Huamian returned to Imperial Park, Qin Chu was already back because the light in the study upstairs was on. Huamin took off his jacket and made a cup of coffee. He knocked on the door and asked with a smile, Hey President Qin, would you like some coffee? Chapter 223. As soon as Qin Chu turned his head and saw Huamin, his gaze softened. I don't need coffee, can I have tofu instead? Qin Chu's jokes were always so serious. Huamin immediately walked in, blushing. He placed the coffee next to Qin Chu's mouse and poked his head with his finger. How can you be so relaxed when you're focused on work? You're not very good at being the president of GK. Didn't you say on WeChat that you were staying there? Huamin nodded. That was my plan, but something came up at the hospital so I had to go back. It was pretty late by the time I finished and my mom goes to bed early. I didn't want to wake her up and I have to work tomorrow as well. Have you eaten? I did, I had a working meal at the hospital. What about you? I haven't eaten yet, I'm not that hungry, President Qin said as he looked at the information on his computer. Huamin stood beside him, curiously looking at the information on his computer. There were 3 pictures of rings. Perhaps it was because they weren't finished yet so they weren't that pretty. Huamin looked at them seriously, and Qin Chu naturally placed his hand on Huamin's waist, gently hugging her. Then he smelled her unique scent and for some reason his mood improved. These are the rings that GK will be releasing next month. Pick one out of the 3, which one do you think is the best? Qin Chu asked. I'm not an expert, you can choose. Huamin smiled. I trust your taste, pick for me. After looking at them all night, Qin Chu felt a headache coming on. The 3 designs were designed by 3 different people. The first design was a crescent-shaped ring with stars inside, designed by Jiang Linyue. It was called Stars Embrace the Moon. All young girls would like this dreamy design. The second design was submitted by a young design director from the southern branch of GK. It was a tear-shaped ring, romantic and sad at the same time. It was called the Devil's Tears. The third design was in the shape of a burning flame. The craftsmanship was more complicated, but it was more breathtaking. This bold design was made by a new designer from the overseas headquarters. Among the tens of thousands of works a while ago, there were 3 that stood out. As the CEO, Qin Chu had to personally select a flagship product and then officially launch it on the market. After a night of reading, each of the 3 works had its own advantages and disadvantages, so he had been hesitant. Since Huamin had just returned, he asked for her opinion. Huamin bent over in front of the computer and looked at it seriously. He said, then I'll comment. Don't laugh at me. Qin Chu unconsciously tightened his arms around Huamin's waist, as if he was afraid that she would run away. The first design is a bit old-fashioned, but there's nothing wrong with going old-fashioned in jewelry. After all, it's very expensive. Consumers don't dare to try new styles, so many people choose old-fashioned styles conservatively. The pattern of the moon and stars is very dreamy. Young girls will like it. It's more popular. President Qin nodded. Huamin continued. The second design is more interesting. The designer is probably an artist and his work vividly reflects the sadness in his heart. However, not many people can understand it. The tears are melancholy and broken tears represent endless sadness. After the work is released, it should be beautiful, but many people don't understand it and probably won't buy it. It's not something so interesting, but it would be a pity if it wasn't released. I think you can make a few of them and sell them as limited editions. Qin Chu nodded approvingly. Not bad, continue. I personally like the last design very much. The design is very bold and the style is very stunning. However, such a complicated design should be very difficult to make by hand. If the price is too high, consumers might not buy it. In the end, they can only look at it from afar and not buy it. So, I suggest that you let a model wear this design first to promote it. The design can also be put in the store for exhibition. Once a customer wants to spend money to reserve it, you can make it after receiving the deposit. Overall, the first design is definitely suitable for the general public, and the last 2 designs are luxury goods that are more focused on quantity rather than quantity. Chapter 224. I was thinking the same thing, but the first one is too old-fashioned. With GK's current status, I think the industry will laugh at us if our new products are too unoriginal. As a businessman, profit is important, but so is reputation. So, I plan on promoting the third one. The second one is like what you said, it will be a limited edition. As for the first one, it will be used as a cheap piece of jewelry and will do some promotions to attract the public's attention. Huamin nodded in agreement. Qin Chu's ideas were always right. I'm suddenly hungry, I want to eat something. Qin Chu looked at Huamin eagerly, the hand on his waist becoming restless. If you're hungry, tofu alone won't fill you up. Huamin smacked his hand away and replied with a smile. Tofu fills me up, I like it, Qin Chu protested. His eyes were also filled with resentment. To his surprise, Huamin nodded. We do have a piece of tofu in the fridge, I'll make it for you. Then Huamin turned around and went downstairs. Qin Chu looked at her helplessly. Tofu wasn't tofu at all. She clearly understood what he meant, but she pretended not to. What kind of woman did he marry? She looked like a little rabbit but was actually more cunning than a fox. Half an hour later, Huamin called Qin Chu over for dinner. They made mushroom meat, vegetable and tofu soup and 2 egg pancakes. Needless to say, Huamin's cooking immediately whetted Qin Chu's appetite. The two sat down across from each other and Huamin poured him a glass of water and handed it to him. Qin Chu began to eat with relish. Hu Jinghai is sick, my mom and I went to visit him today. Yeah. He wanted me to go back and said that he left me some shares. I think he couldn't handle Hua Xiqian and couldn't control the situation, so he had to think of me. He even put on a pitiful act in front of my mom. Your mom must have believed it, right? Qin Chu guessed. Yeah, she's a little soft-hearted. She's a woman after all, so she seemed a little moved. But after listening to my analysis, she believed my conjecture. Huo Jinghai is definitely only looking for us for benefits. I won't be deceived by his lies. He's really capable of doing all this. All these years he didn't care about you at all. In the end he still wants to use you. It's really strange to have such a father. Qin Chu really disliked the Huo family because they didn't treat Huo Min well. Anyone who treated Huo Min badly would always be Qin Chu's enemy. Yes, so my attitude this time is very clear. Even if he calls me father, I will not help him. Qin Chu chuckled. His wife was sometimes very cute when she spoke, wasn't she? What are you laughing at? I'm talking business with you. Is this the time for you to laugh? Huo Min was speechless. So, honey, you've been working so hard all day, yet you still have to worry about these things. Should I do something for you? Do what? For example, give you a full body massage to help you relieve your tiredness. Or, let's do some meaningful exercise to help you forget about these troubles for a while. Huo Min was extremely embarrassed by Qin Chu's explicit words. I don't need a full body massage. You can give me more money. With more money, I won't be tempted by Huo Jinghai's bullshit shares. Then all of his schemes won't succeed. I have an idea. What is it? Huo Min looked up at Qin Chu, wondering what he was up to. Chapter 225. You can work at GK and I'll give you the position of Executive Vice President. You can join the board of directors and own GK's shares, making all the other shareholders pale in comparison. That's true, 1% of GK's shares is worth many times more than 10% of the whole corporation's shares. I believe you. So, do you want to work? Yes, I'm very sincere in hiring you. What do you think of an annual salary of 50 million yuan? Wouldn't it be bad if people found out that you pulled strings for your wife? Huo Min laughed. You're already my wife, why would I need to pull strings? Yeah, so, instead of being executive vice president, you should just be a young lady at GK. It's more relaxing and you'll get paid, Huo Min joked. Qin Chu didn't say anything else. He knew that Huo Min wouldn't work at GK. He was just teasing her. After dinner, Huo Min went upstairs to shower. When she came out, she looked at her phone and saw a text message. She opened the message and was dumbfounded. Your ICBC account number is 1040, and you've transferred 50 million yuan. Your balance is 53,006,000 yuan. 53 million yuan? She knew that 3 million yuan was the one that Qin Chu asked the finance department to transfer to her every month. But what was with this 50 million yuan? She immediately got up and walked out of the door to see Qin Chu reading the financial news downstairs. Did you just transfer money to my account? It wasn't me. That's impossible, Huo Mian refused almost immediately. Such a huge sum of money, who else could it be but him? Didn't you want to go against the Huo Corporation? I'll transfer some money to you to calm you down. Are you kidding me? It's too much, I don't want it. Take it. If your husband goes bankrupt, you can use it to help me make a comeback, Qin Chu said as he sipped on his tea, as if 50 million yuan was as simple as 500 yuan. So, there really was a man who could willfully give his wife tens of millions of yuan. Huo Min was confused. Was she a rich woman now? Qin Chu suddenly gave her so much money, and the reason was so good that it was hard for her to refuse. She suddenly thought of something and posted it on her WeChat friends circle. She wrote, if a woman follows you and she's after money, give her enough money and she won't get angry and make a scene because you're with another woman. If a woman pursues feelings, you should give her enough love and security. She won't look down on you because you don't have money. If you can't give her money and love, but you want her to tolerate your laziness and lies, then I'm sorry, what you need is not a girlfriend but a retard. As soon as she posted it, Zhu Lingling immediately liked it. Then a phone call came in. Girl, not bad. I feel that your words are meant for me. I've benefited a lot. You're overthinking it. I saw it on Weibo and thought it would be fun, so I posted it, Huo Min explained. I know, haha, I was just kidding. You've been busy lately, haven't you been on WeChat? Yeah, after I got transferred to Southside, there's been a lot of messy stuff going on. Let's have a drink some other day. No problem, but you can't let Qin Chu know, he'll strangle me. I won't strangle you, but don't worry, I have a better way to deal with you. Qin Chu walked into the bedroom without Huo Min noticing. Huo Min was so scared that she immediately hung up the phone. Mr. Qin, eavesdropping on other people's calls is not a good habit. Then you going out for drinks behind my back is a good habit? Qin Chu crossed his arms and leaned against the door as he looked at Huamin. Huamin immediately felt guilty. I was just brushing Lingling off. Oh, brushing off your friends is a good habit, Qin Chu said on purpose. Huamin was immediately speechless. She thought for a moment and slowly walked over. She wrapped her arms around Qin Chu's neck and said coquettishly, "My dear Mr. Qin, if I kiss you, will you let me go out for drinks?" Before Qin Chu could respond, Huamin raised her head and kissed him. This time she kissed Qin Chu's lips again. Qin Chu's first reaction was, "Huamin, you're crazy, you know." Chapter 226. Qin Chu never thought that Huamin would take the initiative to kiss him, so his brain didn't react in time. By the time he realized what was going on and wanted to kiss her back, the kiss had already ended. Huamin let go of him and licked the corner of her lips, looking even more seductive. "Boss Qin, so can I go out for a drink with Lingling now?" Huamin looked at Qin Chu eagerly. "Your honey trap is quite ruthless." Qin Chu looked at Huamin's face and said word for word. Huamin immediately started laughing. "Did that woman Zhu Lingling teach you that?" Qin Chu was suspicious. "Do you think her IQ is higher than mine?" Huamin asked back. Qin Chu didn't say anything. "Qin Chu? Yeah. Can we go out for a drink? I won't drink too much, just a few glasses, okay?" Huamin acted coquettishly for the first time. Her voice was soft and fluffy, and Qin Chu's heart almost melted when he heard it. Ever since last time he clearly saw Huamin's alcohol tolerance, so he was determined not to let her get drunk again. However, this was the first time this girl acted coquettishly. She kissed and hugged him, so he really couldn't bring himself to do it. In the end, after staring at each other for a long time, Qin Chu was defeated. "Okay, but it can't be like last time." Qin Chu didn't forget to warn her. Okay. Huamin nodded obediently. After receiving Qin Chu's approval, Huamin immediately felt much better. "Do you want to go out now?" He looked at his watch and saw that it was already quite late. "No, Lingling said another day." "Okay, try to go out during the day. Don't go out at night, I'm worried." After the two discussed the conditions, they both went to bed. The next morning Huamin drove to the office. Just as he finished punching in his card and was about to start work, he heard his colleague say, "Huamin, someone is looking for you." Huamin was a little puzzled. Who would be so insensible to come to her when she was at work? He saw a fiery red dress and 7-inch red stilettos. She was flirtatious and high profile. Huayanyan. Huamin frowned slightly. Sure enough, the woman turned her head. Her long hair was draped over her shoulders, and she was wearing exquisite makeup. Huayanyan was from the Hua family. Although she was dressed too ostentatiously, she still had an aura about her. "Huamin, let's talk." "But I'm working," Huamin replied coldly. She really disliked the Hua family. "Your job doesn't make much money. You can take an hour off and I'll pay you 3 times your salary," Huayanyan said arrogantly. She picked up her Louis Vuitton handbag, took out a dozen bills and asked arrogantly, "Is this enough?" Huamin really wanted to slap her in the face and tell her that she had more than 50 million in savings in her bank account, so why the hell did she have to pretend to be so arrogant? However, Huamin wouldn't do that because she wasn't someone who didn't have manners. "I don't need the money. If you have something to say, just say it." Long story short, we're all busy. Huamin looked at Huayanyan and said slowly, "This isn't a good place, let's go somewhere else," Huayanyan suggested as she looked at the busy entrance. So Huamin brought her to the back garden of the hospital. "Say it." Huamin didn't hold back at all. "My dad's sick, you know that, right?" Huayanyan kept emphasizing that she was using her dad's name, as if she was afraid that Huamin didn't know who she was. "Get to the point." Huamin was a little impatient. "The point is that my dad's not in good health. He cares about his father-daughter relationship with you, so he wants you to come back to our house. You don't have to live with us, but you have the right to inherit a portion of my dad's shares. You know that those shares are very valuable, and even if I explain it to you, you might not understand. All you need to know is that my dad is being very kind and wants to give you a chance to get rich. In order to repay my dad's kindness, you have to stand on the same side as us and fight against Huasiqian, understand?" "Why should I?" Huamin looked at Huayanyan provocatively. "Because you want to help us with the shares. There's no free lunch in this world. But I don't want those shares, and I definitely won't help you." "What? Are you kidding me? You don't want those shares? Idiot, do you know how much those shares can be sold for?" Hui Yanyan shouted in a sharp voice. Chapter 227. I don't care how much those things cost. It has nothing to do with me. Miss Hu, please leave. Don't come here to look for me in the future. I don't want you to affect my work. Huimin asked her to leave. Shit, you idiot. Hui Yanyan was so angry that she cursed. Hui Yanyan, you're a socialite. Please mind your image. Huimin, don't be so shameless. My dad just took pity on you. He saw that you were so poor and had a younger brother who was a burden to take care of. I heard that in order to pay for his education, you had a lot of part-time jobs. When you were in school, you even worked part-time at a KFC. Also, that weird mother of yours, when she failed to force my dad to abdicate, she had an affair with my dad's chauffeur. After that, the two of them had a child. When she couldn't make a living, she wanted to blackmail my dad. She didn't succeed, so she spread rumors that my dad was a heartless man. You're so poor, but you still want to pretend to be rich. I heard that you drive a Volkswagen CC, right? Did you buy it with a loan or a second-hand car? Or are you being kept by some man? Hui Yanyan was the vicious type. She was extremely snobbish and looked down on the poor. Previously, when they were in school, it was said that there was a classmate who liked her very much. However, because the boy's family background was ordinary and his parents were both civil servants, she used all kinds of sarcastic means to mock him. In the end, the boy couldn't take it anymore and jumped from the 3rd floor of the school, breaking his leg. What kind of character was she? Are you done farting? If you're done, get lost. I'm afraid I'll throw up if I look at you for another minute. What did you say? Hui Yanyan was obviously shocked. People like you have a good family background and a rich life. You should cherish it. Otherwise, if you continue to squander like this, you'll end up in a sorry state one day. Don't be so mean or you'll be punished by the heavens, Huimin said calmly. Who are you talking about? Huimin, you're just jealous of me. You're jealous that I'm the daughter of the Hua family and you're just a lowly nurse. Miss Hua, are you suffering from delusional disorder? Where did your sense of superiority come from? Why would I be jealous of you? Do you look like Zhang Manyu or Lin Qingxia? Is your husband Liang Chaowei or Li Zikai? Of the three of you, other than your mother who still has a brain, I think you and your brother are simply retarded. I suggest you eat more walnuts when you have nothing to do. Aren't you afraid of being laughed at by others for showing off your IQ? Also, for people like you to be able to survive until now, I have to say, Hu Xiqian is really soft-hearted. After speaking, Huimin turned around and left. Huimin, come back here. Who the hell are you calling brainless? Hui Yanyan was furious. However, Huimin didn't give her any chance to fight back. She had wanted to make a scene at the hospital, but she was afraid that the media would make groundless accusations which would leave a bad impression on her. On the way back, Hui Yanyan was fuming inside the sports car. She didn't even discuss it with her mother when she got home. Instead, she made a bold decision. She made a phone call to a reporter that she was quite close to. That night at 8:00 p.m., that reporter announced that she was Huimin's illegitimate daughter on Weibo. The reporter described her and her mother as an ugly mother and daughter who were completely greedy for the Hua family's wealth. They didn't even care about their own father when he was sick and only thought about how to get money. At the same time, some people even suspected that Huimin was able to avoid the scandal because of her identity as the illegitimate daughter of the Hua family. The report also claimed that Huimin and Hu Xiqian were quite close, so Hu Xiqian might have been the one who settled the scandal. It was an exaggeration, but many people believed it. After Hui Yanyan had enough fun at the nightclub that night, Xinjiani asked with a grim expression on her face, Yanyan, were you the one who exposed Huimin's identity? Chapter 228. Yeah, what do you think? I did a great job, right? That bitch didn't want to help us, but that's good, I'll make her infamous. Once our relationship is made public, she'll have no choice but to admit her relationship with my dad. It's only a matter of time before she comes back and inherits the shares. Silly, why don't you think about what would happen if she sided with Hu Xiqian? That's easy, we can get someone to run her over and kill her. Before she dies, we can find a lawyer and ask her to give us the shares, Hui Yanyan said casually, reeking of alcohol. Silly, you're still too young and don't use your brain. Xinjiani was furious, but she didn't want to slap Hui Yanyan. Inside the VIP room at Southside Recuperation Center, Suyu looked at the hot topics on Weibo and smiled. Was she the illegitimate daughter of the Hua family? That was a fun identity. However, Suyu felt like Huamin's secret was more than that. Huamin was working the night shift, so she was still at work when the incident happened. Lingling, Jixin, Huang Yu and the head nurse of the first hospital called to ask about her. Huamin went on to Weibo and read the news. She couldn't imagine how stupid Hu Yanyan was. Even if she wanted to mess with her, she shouldn't have done something so brainless. It seemed like she had angered her during the day, and now she wanted to force her to admit her relationship with Hu Jinghai. She didn't admit it back then, but now she was forcing her to admit it. The Hu family was truly despicable and shameless. "Girl, are you okay?" Zhu Lingling was worried and sent her a WeChat message. "I'm fine. Who did this? They're so evil." It was Hu Yanyan. "That bitch, I think I should go with you to stop her and beat her up to vent your anger. I've been pissed at her for a long time." "It's okay, I won't do that. It's not good for her to mess with me like this. Let's wait and see, she'll regret it." Compared to other people's worries, Huamin himself appeared to be very nervous. While he was chatting with Huamin, Qin Chu called. "Oh, are you okay?" It was obvious that Qin Chu was very worried. "You also saw Weibo?" Huamin smiled bitterly. She really didn't want to cause trouble because Qin Chu always helped her deal with the aftermath. But he was always in trouble. "Yes, I've already arranged for someone to suppress this matter. I'll also defend you in terms of public opinion. Don't worry." "I'm fine. Are you working the night shift tonight?" "Yes. I'll go with you." "It's okay. South Side doesn't allow family members to come here. It's very strict. You don't have to come over. Just wait for me at home. I'll go back tomorrow morning and buy you breakfast. What do you want to eat?" Huamin chuckled. At a time like this, Huamin was still able to talk about breakfast so casually. She had to admit that Huamin was very smart and calm. "I'll make breakfast and wait for you at home tomorrow morning. That's all." With that, Qin Chu hung up the phone. That night, while Huamin was on duty, she was preparing some backup information. She knew that Suyu must have done it on purpose. There were always women in his room and there were endless bodyguards outside. What emergency could there be? Therefore, she dawdled for a few minutes before going over. "What's wrong?" She walked in, leaned against the door and asked nonchalantly. "I want to drink water. Pour me a glass." "Don't you have hands?" "Please, you broke your leg, not your hands," Huamin retorted. "You're very aggressive. What's wrong? Did you suddenly become the illegitimate daughter of a rich family? Did your temper grow because of the Hu family?" Suyu asked. Upon hearing Suyu's words, Huamin's eyes changed slightly. Then she turned around and answered as she poured herself a glass of water. "Wrong. For the past 24 years, the Hu family has never acknowledged me. My temper is just as bad. It has nothing to do with who I'm basking in." With that, Huamin handed her the glass of water. Then she turned around and left. "Huamin? What is it?" Huamin turned around. "If you beg me, I can take care of this for you within a minute." Suyu held the glass of water and looked at Huamin arrogantly. She wasn't bragging. If Suyu were to help, it would probably be done in minutes. "Thank you. If you drink less water, pee less and don't torture me, the nurse on duty, a few more times, I'll be immensely grateful." With that, Huamin walked out of the room. As expected, no matter how big of a problem she was in, she would never ask for help. Suyu quite liked her arrogant personality, but he was also angry that she wouldn't beg him. Women should be gentle when they needed to be and give in when they needed to. When Huamin returned to the on-call desk, her phone kept ringing. When she picked up, the first thing Jixin asked was, "Sis, are you planning to go back to the Hu family?" Chapter 229. Where did you hear that? "I didn't hear it from anyone, I just saw it on the news. No one has come looking for you for so many years, but now you've made such a big deal out of it. That family is so prideful, they'll probably come looking for you under the pressure of the media." "Jixin, do you want me to go back?" Hearing his sister's question, Jixin was silent for a while before he said sadly, "To be honest, I don't want you to go back, but if you want to go back, I won't stop you. I'll also help you convince Mom. I still stand by what I said, I will always respect your decision." "You little brat, don't make yourself sound so high and mighty and don't think of me as a snob. Why would I go back? This is giving me enough headaches. Everyone in the Hu family is a scheming bitch. I'm dog-tired from work and I still have to fight them with my wits and courage. Don't add to my troubles." Hearing the hidden meaning in his sister's words, Jixin immediately asked worriedly, Sis, what's going on? Can I help you? It's okay, just go to school and be a good boy. Mom and I don't have to worry about you. I know. Okay, then I'll get changed and get off work. Talk to you later. Okay. Jishin obediently hung up. This little brother of hers was actually a nice guy. He was always the first one to stand up for her when she was in trouble. Although he was still a child and couldn't help her much, the words he said always made Huamin feel very comfortable. Sometimes she even thought that all these years of doting on Jishin weren't in vain. Their relationship was indescribable. They were even closer than those with the same father and mother. She hoped that Jishin would grow up quickly and that one day she would be able to see him get married and have children. That scene would definitely be touching. However, she also hoped that time would slow down. Once Jishin stepped into society, he would have to bear a lot of social and family responsibilities. When that time came, he would definitely not be as innocent as he was now. Because the incident happened so suddenly, Huamin felt that it was necessary to deal with it. Therefore, he changed his clothes and informed the head nurse that he was off work. Suyu didn't know that there was a change of night shift. At 10 p.m. he rang the bell for water. However, it was another nurse. Her face immediately darkened. Isn't Huamin on duty today? Young Master Su. Huamin went home. Something happened at home. The nurse was so scared that she didn't even dare to speak loudly. Get lost. Waving his hand, Suyu sent the nurse away. He couldn't sleep, so he turned on his phone to read the news. After the identity of Huamin's illegitimate daughter was exposed, there was a lot of negative news. Someone opened a smooth account on a local forum and questioned Huamin's background. Could it be that Huamin had used this kind of power in the previous dispute between doctors and patients, causing the public to be unable to see the truth? When one person spoke out, there would naturally be others who would follow suit, causing the situation to get worse and worse. At the first hospital, the department's media went to surround them, but no one stood up to respond. South Side was also packed with people, but Huamin didn't seem to have any intention of responding to this matter. Suyu really wanted to see how Huamin would deal with this matter this time. Would he go back to the Hua family and rightfully inherit part of the Hua family's fortune, or would he continue to be arrogant and maintain his own style? When Huamin got off work, Qin Chu wasn't home yet. He seemed to be very busy these days. Huamin wasn't in the mood for dinner, so she took a quick shower and crawled into bed. She was too lazy to read the news, nor did she want to. However, Lingling couldn't hold it in and called her to ask about the situation. She gave her a brief explanation. As soon as she hung up the phone with Lingling, she saw a familiar number calling her. Hello. Huamin picked up the phone. Little sister Mion, who's so ruthless this time. They're forcing you to come back. What about you? Have you thought about how to deal with this? Do you need your big brother to help you? Hua Xiqian's tone was still frivolous. Chapter 230. No need. Faced with Hua Xiqian's offer to help, Huamin immediately rejected it. Don't be so stubborn. If you don't control the situation and let it develop, you'll be the one who gets hurt the most. It won't affect the Liang siblings at all. Plus, I think that even if you don't respond, they won't stop if they don't get what they want. They'll continue to put up a smokescreen to force you. Instead of being passive, why don't we take the initiative? We can work together and kick them out anytime. Mr. Hua isn't dead yet. Don't be so sure, Huamin reminded her coldly. I know this has nothing to do with Dad. He won't directly interfere with this yet. He'll just sit on the sidelines and watch the tigers fight. But I'm guessing that Xinjiani didn't come up with such a brainless plan. It was most likely Hua Yanyan's doing. Huamin fell silent. She thought so too. When she thought about the unpleasant conversation she had with Hua Yanyan at the hospital during the day, she was the biggest suspect. Not only would publicizing these scandals bring inconvenience to Huamin's life, but it would also use the power of public opinion to force Huamin to make a choice. She could either return to the Hua family and acknowledge their relationship, or she could leave the Hua family forever and never return. Originally she could choose directly, but at this juncture Hua Jinghai was sick. If she heartlessly cut ties with him, people would say that she was an ingrate who didn't even care about her own father. Huamin knew that this was a trap. No matter how she walked, it wouldn't be easy. Not to mention she was too weak. Compared to Hua Yanyan and the others, she didn't have any connections or resources. Unless she needed Qin Chu to help her. But she really didn't want Qin Chu to help her. She thought that she was strong enough and couldn't live under Qin Chu's protection forever. Hui Yanyan's actions won't do her any good either. I'm not that weak and I won't give in easily. It's still too early for her to defeat me so easily. But how can we exchange blows? Not bad, your courage is commendable. You can't be compared to Hui Yanyan. Even if we were to weigh your IQ, you're still 3 kilograms higher than her. However, I'm afraid this incident will bring you quite a bit of trouble. You'll be living in the eye of the storm just like last time. You're obviously not a public figure, but you'll be treated like one and cursed by the media and netizens. This is unfair to you. Hu Xiqian actually felt sorry for Hu Min. She hadn't had a good life all these years. He had always wanted to help her, but she had always rejected him. Hu Min laughed. Fair. How funny was young Master Hu's words. There's no such thing as fairness in this world. Hui Yanyan is also an illegitimate daughter of the Hu family just like me. She was born from a mistress, but she can enjoy everything with a clear conscience. I, on the other hand, have nothing all these years and I have to be ridiculed and cursed. So, how can there be fairness? If that's the case, then you should take revenge on them. These people are only going to suffer the consequences of their actions. I won't take revenge on them, but I will definitely teach Hui Yanyan a lesson. But I won't work with you. I still stand by what I said. I won't participate in your civil war. Don't even think about trying to rope me in. I haven't said anything yet. You don't have to be so nervous. Hu Xiqian laughed. He laughed at how cute Hu Min could be when she was being silly. If there's nothing else, I'm hanging up. Mian. His voice was abnormally gentle. Hu Min listened in silence. Mian, if you can't take it anymore, just come and find me. I will definitely help you. Don't count on Qin Chu. Don't place your hopes on a man who once abandoned you, understand? Hu Min hung up the phone with a bang. No wonder Qin Chu called him a pervert. It seemed like he was seriously ill. She really wanted to correct him. Qin Chu never abandoned her. 7 years ago she was the one who let him go first. 7 years later, Qin Chu was the one who took the initiative to pursue this relationship. Qin Chu didn't owe her anything. It was just that there were too many obstacles between them, so it hadn't come to fruition yet. Late at night, Qin Chu came back from overtime. When he entered the bedroom, Hu Min was already asleep. Qin Chu stared at her clean face. Finally, he lowered his head and gently kissed her forehead. Hu Min rolled over and tightly wrapped her arms around Qin Chu's neck. Chapter 231. Qin Chu was slightly startled. He thought that she had woken up, but she didn't move for a long time. When he lowered his head to observe her, he realized that she was still in a state of deep sleep. Qin Chu sighed slightly. Just how magnanimous was his wife. So much had happened outside. She was still able to sleep peacefully. Her mental fortitude wasn't ordinary. In the end, Qin Chu lay down next to Hu Min and hugged her tightly as if he was hugging a rare treasure. He couldn't bear to let go of her for even a moment. Don't worry. No one can hurt you. Qin Chu's voice was gentle and hoarse. It was doting and infatuated. In her sleep, Hu Min seemed to have telepathy. She buried her head in Qin Chu's chest and snuggled closer. Qin Chu raised his hand and stroked her slightly messy long hair. His movements were very gentle, afraid that he would wake her up. The next morning, Qin Chu left early because he had to drive out for an inspection. When Hu Min woke up, all she saw was a delicious breakfast, but Qin Chu was nowhere to be seen. Sometimes she thought that the two of them living together like this was just like roommates. Sometimes they wouldn't see each other for a few days. They would leave early and return late. Where was the sweetness of a newlywed couple? With that thought in mind, Hu Min took a sip of milk, picked up her phone and sent Qin Chu a WeChat message. Your whereabouts have been strange recently. Don't tell me you're having an affair? Do you have a mistress? Just as she put down her phone, she heard a ding. It seemed that Qin Chu replied instantly. If I did, what would you do? Would you be angry? Qin Chu asked back. Because they were communicating via text, she couldn't tell if he was joking or half serious. Hu Min laughed and replied jokingly, as long as I'm alive, they can only be concubines forever. After a while, Qin Chu replied, I thought you'd ask for a divorce to fulfill my wish. You want to do that? Hu Min asked tentatively. No, I won't divorce you. Even if you don't love me one day, I won't divorce you. There's only one person I'm obsessed with in my life, and that person is Hu Min. Huamin was originally joking when he sent the message, but when he suddenly saw Qin Chu's affectionate words, he was suddenly at a loss. She felt her heart beating wildly, just like the feeling of being confessed to for the first time when she was a young girl. Her cheeks were burning. "Ah, I'm just joking. How could that be? You've invested so much in me. It would be a loss if we got divorced. Oh right, you seem to be very busy recently. Have you had breakfast? Don't just worry about me, you have to take care of yourself." Huamin changed the topic. "Recently there's a case that's quite complicated. I have to go to the scene every day and come back for a meeting. Okay, it's time for me to go to work." After ending the conversation with Qin Chu on WeChat, Huamin drove out. There seemed to be a lot of reporters at the entrance of the hospital, so she carefully avoided them. Inside the on-call room, a few young nurses gathered around. Because Tingting had known Huamin for a long time, she curiously asked, "Huamin, is what the media is saying true? Are you really Hu Jinghai's illegitimate daughter? Oh my god, then you're the daughter of a rich family?" Chapter 232. Huamin bit her lips and smiled awkwardly. She did not admit or deny it. "Then you're Hu Xiqian's sister? Oh my god, you're lucky. Do you have his contact number? Do you have his WeChat? Give it to me." A few nurses came over and argued. Huamin was helpless. "Sorry, I don't have it. I don't contact him." "Huamin, if you're really a member of the Hu family, why are you a nurse? The Hu's are so rich. You should be a socialite like Hu Yanyan." Women were always gossipy. Huamin did not seem to want to answer. Just then the head nurse Song Lin walked over. "Don't you have to work?" "Head nurse." The nurses were so scared that they retreated to the side. "Go back to your posts. It's working hours." Song Lin showed her courage and scared the nurses away with a few words. Then she glanced at Huamin and asked softly, "Are you okay?" "I'm fine, head nurse. If you need to take time off, just tell me." "No, I'm fine." "All right, I'm relieved to see that you're doing okay. As for young Master Su, he's not doing very well. He doesn't like other nurses. He hasn't taken any medicine or done any 4 drips for the past few days. He even cancelled his follow-up checkup. I'm thinking that if you were to go, the results might be different. You're the only nurse who has successfully injected him." "So you're saying that you want me to take care of him?" Huamin was a little conflicted. "I'm just telling you. If you don't want to, then forget it." Song Lin was a smart person. Naturally, she would not be too stubborn. However, after hearing what she said, Huamin felt a little embarrassed. "Then I'll give it a try. I'll try my best to complete the mission." After speaking, Huamin buttoned up her lab coat and walked over to room 1 with the medicine. When the bodyguards saw Huamin, they were secretly delighted because they realized that only this nurse could deal with their young master. When Huamin pushed open the door and entered, Suyu was reading the newspaper. He looked quite serious. "Get out." Without even looking at her, Suyu thought she was one of those women who wanted to climb up the social ladder. Huamin didn't say anything. He walked over, twisted open the medicine bottle and took out a few pills. "There's a saying that it takes 100 days for bones and tendons to heal. Although your ligament strain isn't a big deal, you can't underestimate it. You have to do a follow-up checkup and take medicine." Hearing Huamin's voice, Suyu raised his head, a faint joy in his eyes. "You still have the time to care about me? Have you dealt with your own matters?" Suyu deliberately asked with a straight face. "So, is it really okay for a man to be so gossipy?" Huamin asked as he stared at Suyu with his arms crossed. "What kind of gossip is this? Didn't the news cause a sensation in the city? How are you going to deal with it?" "How I deal with it is my own business, you don't have to worry about it. Hurry up and take your medicine. I still have to play chess with the old man next door. Everyone is busy, don't waste time." Huamin urged impatiently. Suyu didn't know whether to laugh or cry. He really wanted to ask, what kind of charm did the old man next door have to make her ignore him? "Chess? I know how to play too. Why don't we play a game?" "No." Huamin rejected him directly. "Why?" Suyu refused to accept it. "Because if I look at your face for too long, I'll get depression." With that, Huamin turned around and left. "You..." Suyu wanted to say something, but before he could say anything, Suyu stopped him. Huamin turned around and said, "Don't stop taking your medicine." Then he slammed the door shut. Suyu glanced at the medicine on the tray and the warm water Huamin brought over. He frowned slightly, but in the end he still picked it up and drank it. This woman always had this kind of magical courage that made him obediently follow her wishes. Even if she only cared about him at work and didn't care about him, she was still much better than those hypocritical women who approached him with ulterior motives. Also, he really wanted to know how Huamin was going to deal with this illegitimate daughter storm. Huamin didn't go home after work. Instead, he went straight to the first hospital. Inside the VIP room, Hu Zhenghai didn't seem surprised to see Huamin walk in. "You're here?" He looked at Huamin with a complicated expression. Chapter 233. "Mr. Hua, there's something I want to talk to you about in private," Huamin said meaningfully as he glanced at Huasi beside him. Huasi didn't think much of it and sneered, "If you have something to say, just say it. I'm not an outsider, I'm my dad's son. I'm not an outsider like you." Huamin only looked at him coldly and retorted, "You make it sound like you're not the son of a mistress." "What did you say?" Huasi was just like Hu Yanyan. He wasn't calm at all and was extremely arrogant. He was used to throwing his weight around. As soon as he heard what Huamin said, he immediately exploded. Fortunately, Hu Zhenghai raised his head and suppressed his anger. "See, leave us for a second." "Dad?" Huasi was obviously unwilling. "Go out, I have something to say to her as well." Hu Zhenghai's expression was serious. Huasi glared at Huamin and left the room unwillingly. Hu Zhenghai glanced at Huamin and asked, "You came here because you thought I was the one who leaked the news, right?" Huamin shook his head. "No, I know Hu Yanyan did it. It has nothing to do with you. I just came here because I have something to say. Your mother came by this morning and I could tell that she was very agitated. She thought I was the one who did it and that I wanted to force you to come back. She yelled at me like a dog. She hasn't changed at all, she's still as bad-tempered as ever." Hu Zhenghai calmly explained the situation. His calmness was very suitable for his age and status. After all, he was a businessman who had seen a lot. "I'm not sure about my mom, she didn't call me. I came here today to express my personal opinion." "What are you trying to say?" "What I want to say is, instead of putting your hopes on me and asking me to help them, why don't you teach them how to protect themselves? From what I see, Hu Yanyan and Huasi are so stupid that it's only a matter of time before they die in the hands of Huasi Qian. If it weren't for you, they would have been kicked out a long time ago. On the surface, what Hu Yanyan did doesn't benefit me because everyone is talking about how my mom didn't sacrifice my scandal in order to get closer to the Hua family. However, this doesn't affect anything. On the contrary, I can use this opportunity to come back to the Hua family, but I might not be the best assistant. Do you think I would be stupid enough to help them after what they did to me? Also, if people dig into this matter, then Hu Yanyan's mother, Mrs. Shen, will be exposed for interfering in your marriage with Mrs. Hua. Only Hu Yanyan would do something like this that harms both herself and others. I'm worried about her intelligence, so I advise you to keep her in check. Otherwise, she might end up in a terrible state." Every word Huamin said was like a knife to the heart, making Hu Zhenghai's heart race. There were pros and cons in this matter. Huamin was a commoner to begin with, so even if she was insulted and blamed, it would still be the same. However, Hu Yanyan was different. If her scandal was exposed, she would go from being a genius to being the daughter of a mistress. Moreover, Hu Yanyan wasn't married yet, so this matter might directly affect her marriage in the future. After hearing this, Hu Zhenghai fell into deep thought. After a while, he looked up at Huamin and asked, "Even if I beg you, you won't come back and help me? Even if it's just to help me? What do you think?" Huamin sneered and asked back,